Am I the asshole for making my son pass out the candy he got from trick or treating because he was being rude? My son is 9 years old. We went trick or treating like we usually do, and the night was going well except when we got to a house that had a bowl of candy sitting on the porch. It said, "Take 2 please." He puts his whole hand in there and grabs about 6 pieces. Of course I corrected him, and made him put 4 of them back, explaining he needed to leave some for the others. From then on he had an attitude, and the last straw was when I told him to stop grabbing so much candy from people and he screamed, "No." We had only been out for about an hour, so I took him right on home. Took his candy bag, dumped it in a bowl and told him to come sit outside on the porch with me. He objected, of course, as kids came by and took handfuls of his candy. He complained they were taking too much and I told him that he shouldn't have done the same then. His father came home from work, asked why he was in his room crying, to which I explained why. He said it was really cruel to give away the kids' candy just because he was taking a little too much. I said he needs to learn to not be so greedy, to which my husband said that, "It's okay. It's Halloween." He said I was being a jerk, and that I should cut some slack for the one holiday that kids get to pig out. I don't agree, although I figured I could have done this differently. Am I the asshole? Edit. No, I did not give away the entire bowl. And even if I had, I would have had no problem providing him more once he learned his lesson and apologized. Not the asshole. The outbursts are what get me. When he screamed no, more specifically. It sounds to me like a test of boundaries, as if he knew perfectly well what was expected of him and purposefully crossed the line in order to see if his behavior would be corrected. And you did that. He learned a lesson when he became resentful that other kids were taking too much. That's what his behavior looks like, but from the view of others. Not the asshole, although I hope you did save some candy for your son. He's past the age where he should know how his greed affects others, and seeing it in action was probably a lesson he'll remember. Temper that lesson with a few treats later and a discussion, and I think it's a good parenting moment overall. Not the asshole. Your hub got this one wrong. It's not about grabbing too much candy. It's about you telling your son not to do something and him screaming, "No." At 9 years old, that is not okay. Some of these comments are very strange. Cruel? Cut contact over candy? This was an entirely proportionate consequence for poor behavior. Missing out on candy on one occasion is not a significant punishment. It is related to the poor behavior and completed immediately, i.e. no ongoing punishment. This is entirely within the parameters suggested by child behaviorists. Too many children don't have parents or guardians who care about them enough set reasonable boundaries with proportionate consequences like this. Definitely not the asshole. Not the asshole. And it's not a disproportionate punishment. He is old enough to know better, and he was being rude to you as well as others. I think taking him home immediately was great. But it needed the follow-up punishment, or else he may think that he can end things for everyone involved whenever he wants by misbehaving in public. A toddler gets taken home with no additional punishment. A 9-year-old needs to understand when he is out, he needs to behave. Not the asshole. You told him to stop taking so much candy, he didn't listen, and you demonstrated why he shouldn't have taken so much of it. Just because it's a holiday doesn't mean he gets to be greedy. Is your husband going to be okay when your child starts crying because he doesn't have enough gifts on Christmas? The fact that a lot of people are excusing your kid's behavior and saying to give him a pass because it's a holiday is the reason I stopped giving out candy. The more rude and entitled families come by, the less people are willing to hand out candy. Holidays are not an excuse to be rude or greedy. People are being nice enough to give out free candy. They do not have to do that. Appreciate the free candy you get and don't take it all. Jesus, this sub and those marking you are the asshole are either kids or the parents of the entitled little shots running around acting like asshat because mom and daddy are so frightened to discipline and hurt their spirit. Kid was warned multiple times. He fucked around WLTH mom and he found out what happens. He'll put 2 add 2 together, that is behavior he won't be repeating again. Not the asshole. Way to be a good parent and teach your kid to be considerate of others and respect rules. He's not going to be scarred from this. In the end of the day, it's just free candy in a world of overabundance, and it's not like he'll never get candy again. It's a hard lesson, but hopefully a lesson learned. Am I the asshole for being a Karen and demanding my seat? I know, but hear me out. A bit of context. This happened in the UK, London. I booked a ticket for Sunday evening to go back to my apartment, Northampton. Due to an accident on the tracks, a lot of trains have been delayed or suspended indefinitely. I found this out at the station. A couple of hours before I was about to start making my way home, my ticket to go home was cancelled, refunded and given the option to buy a new one, which I did. It came with a seat, but I didn't pay too much attention to it. When I got to the station it was packed to say the least. Trains were getting cancelled and delayed left and right. My train got delayed multiple times, but luckily it arrived. Since the train station was so packed, it was a rush to get in the train, made harder with my mini suitcase I was pulling along. I was scanning my ticket and remembered it came with my designated seat. I relaxed a bit knowing that at least that was secure. The trouble was when I got to my seat someone was sitting in there. I politely informed the woman that the seat she was sitting on was reserved for me and I have the ticket to prove it. She looked at me and said, "Sorry, I was here first, you can find another seat." I said, "I get that, but I paid for that seat and I should be able to sit in the seat I bought. If it was the other way round I'd get up because it's the right thing to do." We went back and forth about it, with her refusing to budge on the matter and me getting more and more annoying. I was annoyed and lost all my patience and simply said, "Look, we all paid for a ticket, but mine came with that seat and I'd like to sit there as I paid for it, so get up." At this point you could hear the anger in my voice and people started to notice and take sides. Some thought I was in the wrong and should screw up. Some said it's my seat as stated on the ticket, so she should get up. One person thought heard the commotion from another carriage and came to shame me for bullying her and refused to listen when someone was trying to explain. She said I should be ashamed that someone like you shouldn't harass an innocent lady like her. To clarify, I'm a 6 inches 3 black guy with a voice deep enough to make Darth Vader jealous, so I could have been a misunderstanding. After 10 minutes and another delay, the train was at the platform the whole time. She reluctantly got up and sat next to someone else. I apologized for the disturbance. I put my suitcase up in the overhead luggage storage, sat down and put in my AirPods and calmed down with some music. She got off at the stop before me, Wolverton, and gave me a dirty look through the window. In hindsight it was a chaotic situation to say the least, but I still believe I was in the right, but I also think that I could have just let the situation go or handled it better, so I come here for an unbiased opinion from strangers of the internet. So Reddit, am I the asshole for being a Karen and demanding my seat? Not the asshole, you paid for the seat, it's yours, simple as that. Not the asshole. That, someone like you shouldn't harass an innocent lady like her, took me out though. Like what made you someone like you, and the woman somehow, innocent. Not the asshole. Seat reservation. It means what it says. Not the asshole. Why is this such a common thing for people to do? It should be pretty fucking clear that if you paid for a thing, you should get the thing. Full stop. Not the asshole. Hashtag it was your seat. Not the asshole, and I will die on the hill with you. And fork the person who tried to shame you and call you a bully. Not the asshole. No argument here. You spent money for something, you expect that something, that seat is yours. NTA. I'm living that shit show of train cancellations right now. 6 hours down, 30 minutes left. Stood up for 3 of those hours. I had a seat reserved on my train, but it was cancelled. I can't then take that seat in the next train. Am I the asshole for not telling my brother-in-law about the college account we have for his daughter? My 40F husband, Robert, 45M, and I are child-free by choice. I'm an only child, but Robert has a brother, Samuel. Samuel has a daughter, Shelby, who is 17 and a senior in high school. Shelby's mom and Samuel split up when Shelby was 3. Samuel has never been a very enthusiastic father and did not file for custody. He gets visitation and pays court-ordered child support. Several years ago, Samuel told Robert that he wasn't saving anything for Shelby for college. He said, Shelby's mom, can pay for it out of the child support I send her every month. When I heard this, I suggested that we start saving some money each year in an account for Shelby that we would give her when she was ready for college. We started putting money aside each year and we invested it well, so now the account has almost $35,000 in it. We didn't tell anyone about the account because we didn't know how much we would be able to save, and we didn't want Shelby to count on money that wouldn't be there. I have some chronic health problems and we thought we might end up needing the money we had saved for Shelby, but I'm doing better, so we are now comfortable giving it to her. A couple years ago Samuel lost his job. He looked for a new one, but he didn't seem to be looking very hard. Whenever Robert asked him about it, Samuel would say he would find something when he really needed to, but that he was enjoying having some time off. We assumed he was living off of his savings. He got a new job about a year later and has been working that job since. Last month Shelby started looking into colleges. We decided we should tell her about the account because knowing the money was available might influence her decisions about where to apply. Shelby was very excited. But Samuel hit the roof. He called Robert and screamed at him about how he could really have used that money to pay his child support while he was unemployed. Then Robert's mom called and started screaming too. Apparently, Robert's parents were actually making Samuel's child support payments while Samuel was unemployed, even though they are retired and on a fixed income. Nobody ever told us that, and Samuel never asked us for a loan or anything. He seemed really nonchalant about not having a job. Now Robert feels terrible because his parents spent a bunch of money on Samuel while we had $30,000 in a savings account. He says we should have told them about the account and offered to help Samuel out. I pointed out that we didn't know for sure that we wouldn't need the money until recently, and that Samuel could have gotten a job to make ends meet rather than taking money from his parents. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. That money is for college, not child support. I'm shocked how everyone is giving the brother-in-law a pass for being a deadbeat dad and nobody is praising you for giving the poor child an opportunity for a better future. Not the asshole. You and your husband are not responsible for his brother. It is not your husband's fault his parents were covering child support payments. They should be mad at your brother-in-law because he was so nonchalant about not having a job. It is unfortunate for them, but not in any way you or your husband's fault. Not the asshole. Sounds like Mill was enabling Bill's lack of need to find a job. Not the asshole. At least Shelby has some family on her dad's side who prioritize her. And it's not her grandparents or father. Your in-laws are adults. They made the choice to enable your bill. That money is your gift to your niece, not so your brother-in-law can leech off you too. Your husband needs to not infantilize his parents. Not the asshole. Your reasoning for not telling people of the account was justified. He never asked y'all for help or a loan to cover his child support, nor did you know your in-laws were enabling his poor parenting. I would say your brother-in-law Ida. Not the asshole. Your brother-in-law could have gotten a job. Instead he decided to mooch off his parents who are on a fixed income. You are taking care of his child because he won't. He's an adult and needs to handle his responsibilities. I doubt he ever pays your in-laws back, and if you had loaned him the money he wouldn't have paid you back either. Share these responses with your husband. You two have no guilt and you're doing a wonderful thing for his child. Also shame on the grandparents who should be wanting the best for their granddaughter. Not the asshole at all. Your husband's parents chose to support their lazy son. Your brother-in-law chose to let his parents pay his way. Even if either of them had asked you for financial help, you'd not be the arsehole for refusing to bend to Bill's shonky, fathering. You chose to do something very special for your niece. Don't let anyone take that gift of giving away from you. Not the asshole. None of their "this money could have been used for" is valid. At all. You could have decided to spend the $35K on bonbons and chocolate cake for her and they still wouldn't have an argument. It was your money and your decision. And frankly, decisions like this to pay for school or incidentals and set her up for success is smart planning for her future. Sometimes when you stay swirled in the present problems, you shortchange the prospects in the future. Her future. She's lucky to have you, for both the cash and the thinking clearly about what's best for the rest of her long life. Good job. Am I the asshole for telling my siblings' dad I am not part of his family and to stop expecting shit from me? My mom was married to Dave when I was a kid and had my brother and sister with him. They divorced soon after my sister was born. Dave was in no way my father and I did not see or speak to him after that really. Then mom died and to have a relationship with my siblings we had to communicate about them. At first he tried to say I wouldn't be allowed to see them, but after lawyers got involved and he was told I could file under familial rights to see them. Basically I was a big part of their lives and like grandparents' rights I could prove our relationship was important for them. I started getting to see them once a month as a compromise. That did increase because they bugged him to see me more. After he got married things became a shit show. His wife has kids and he has kids with her. And he expects me to treat them like my family too and threatened to stop my access to my siblings if I didn't. I told him they were not my responsibility and I would still take him to court if I have to. Last month when I picked my siblings up he had all the kids at the door waiting for me. He told them to say hi to their sister, and that I'd be taking them somewhere fun. I reminded him I was there for my brother and sister, not for everyone. Kids were upset. After I took my siblings he texted me that I was an asshole for hurting kids. Then a week later he told me I need to start acting like a member of the family before I hurt everyone. I told him I am not part of his family, I am part of my siblings' family, and I don't owe them shit, so stop expecting it from me. I reminded him that he was not part of my life outside of being the father of my siblings, and that made his family even less mine. My siblings told me yesterday he's still really mad about it and he was pressuring them to pressure me to take the other kids. They said they hate that he wants to take away our time together. Am I the asshole? Oi, not the asshole. Dave is resorting to emotional blackmail, trying to guilt you about your non-siblings. Not the asshole. He's looking for a free babysitter, not a family member. Not the asshole, but Dave definitely is. You have no responsibility to care of his kids. Not the asshole. He was looking for free childcare. Not the asshole, those people are not your family nor your responsibility at all. He doesn't see you as family, never did, and never will. All he was trying to do was shunt those kids onto you so he doesn't have to watch them, and now he's pissed you didn't play ball. Not the asshole. He is holding your siblings basically hostage and emotionally blackmailing you. If he is threatening to stop you from seeing your siblings, he is the regardless of the rest of the situation. Anyways, you don't have to treat him like family. He was never part of your life. Plus, he's using you as a way to babysit his kids for free? Major asshole behavior. Have you spoken to any other family about this, e.g. an aunt or grandparent? You're not the asshole, he is. Some advice too. People like this will continue the bullshit the whole time. Seek legal help sooner rather than later. Not the asshole. You're sitting on a petty goldmine though. Sure Dave. I'll take all the kids, my babysitting fee is $15 per kid that I'm not related to. I require full payment up front. That was a low move having them all ready. He hoped that it would guilt you into taking them all. Lol, no. Good on you for sticking to your guns on this. Your time with your siblings is important for you and them, and considering they are being pressured by Dave to include the others isn't fair on them or you. Speaking to a lawyer again just for advice might be a good idea after that stunt he pulled already.